Dear students, today we are starting our rapid reader. The name of our rapid reader is Tales from Shakespeare. Now, who was Shakespeare? Shakespeare is the greatest playwright of the world. Playwright, one who writes plays, Natyakar. He is the greatest playwright of the world. But that is only a part of his identity. Shakespeare is one of the finest poets of the world also. He wrote some extraordinary sonnets, some immortal sonnets. You know what a sonnet is? A poem having 14 lines. In all, he wrote 154 sonnets. So Shakespeare was not only a poet, but he was not only a dramatist, a playwright, but also a great poet. He is one of the leading figures of world literature. Now, Shakespeare started his career humbly. He did not start his career with a bang. তিনি যে অসাধারণভাবে আরম্ভ করেছিলেন তা না। He wrote plays for a theatre company. তিনি একটা থিয়েটার কোম্পানির নাটক লিখতেন। And gradually his fame as a playwright spread far and wide. নাট্যকার হিসেবে তার খ্যাতি চারিদিকে ছড়িয়ে পড়ল, and he was acclaimed as the greatest playwright of the world. Now, Shakespeare's plays can be divided into two groups, tragedies and comedies. Shakespeare wrote both tragedies and comedies. Now, what is a tragedy? A tragedy is a play which has an unhappy ending. And where there is the downfall of the central character. Unhappy ending means sad ending. নাটকটা শেষ হবে দুঃখ শোকের মধ্য দিয়ে, and there will be downfall of the central character. মূল চরিত্র পতন হবে. This is tragedy. Shakespeare wrote some immortal tragedies like Macbeth, Othello, Hamlet. In each case, the central character died. In Macbeth was killed, Hamlet died, Othello committed suicide. So in this way, a tragedy always ends in a sorrowful ending, or a tragedy has a sorrowful ending. Now, what is a comedy? A comedy describes some humorous situations. Humorous means funny, মজাদার, কিছু মজাদার পরিস্থিতি বর্ণনা করে, and finally the characters overcome all the obstacles. চরিত্রগুলি সমস্ত বাধা অতিক্রম করে. So a comedy has a happy ending. This is the difference between tragedy and comedy. For example, Shakespeare wrote many memorable comedies like A Comedy of Errors, A Midsummer Night's Dream, and The Merchant of Venice. These are the famous comedies written by Shakespeare. Now, as students of English B, that means English as a second language, you need not read the original plays of Shakespeare. Shakespeare's মূল নাটক তোমাদের পড়তে হবে না। তাহলে what will we read? We will read an adapted version. Actually, Tales from Shakespeare is written by Charles Lamb, a famous essayist. একজন বিখ্যাত প্রাবন্ধিক Charles Lamb. He adapted the plays of Shakespeare for the children. ছোটদের জন্য তিনি শেক্সপিয়ারের নাটকগুলো লিখেছিলেন. And this book is known as Tales from Shakespeare. This has been included in the syllabus, but the council has not included the original book Tales from Shakespeare. They have introduced a simpler version of Tales from Shakespeare. চার্লস ল্যামের টেলস ফ্রম শেক্সপিয়ারটাকে আরো সহজ করে the council has introduced it for the students of class 11. We will have to study that. You will find that in your book there are 6 adaptations of plays. We will first start with Macbeth. So open your books at page number 43. Open your books at page number 43, chapter 5. We will start the play Macbeth. Look at your books. When Duncan was the king of Scotland, there lived a brave general who was looked up to with high esteem throughout Scotland for his great valor and skill in wars. Who was the king of Scotland? The king of Scotland was Duncan. That was his name. And when Duncan was the king of Scotland, in Scotland there was a brave general. Who is a general? A general is a person who leads the army, Senanayak, Senapati. So a brave general lived in Scotland who was looked up to with high esteem. Look up to. This group verb means to consider. He was considered with high esteem. Esteem means respect, Shraddha. Throughout Scotland, that means all over Scotland, this general was respected. Why was he respected? Because he had 2 great qualities. What were the 2 great qualities of Macbeth? Great valor. Valor means bravery, sahosh, courage, and skill in wars. Macbeth was a very skilled soldier. He was one of the greatest generals. So people respected him for 2 reasons: his courage or his bravery and his skill in warfare. He was also a close relative of the old king. Macbeth was not only the general, he was also a relative. Relative means relation, athiyo. He was a relative of the old king, means Duncan. He was Duncan's relative. He was Macbeth, the Thane of Glamis. The name of the general was Macbeth, the central character of this play, the protagonist of this play. He was Macbeth, the Thane of Glamis. What is meant by the term Thane? Thane is a person who rules over a thenage. One who rules over a thenage. যিনি thenage শাসন করেন, he is called a thane. What is a thenage? A thenage is a territory of a land. The whole of the land, গোটা দেশটা, the whole of the country is divided into several territories. কতগুলো অঞ্চলে ভাগ করা হতো. Each territory was called a thane, and each thane had a ruler. Each thenage had a ruler. The whole country was divided into certain thenages, and each thenage had a ruler. That ruler was called Thane. For example, Macbeth was the Thane of Glamis. That means Macbeth ruled over the territory named Glamis. তিনি Glamis বলে অঞ্চলে রাজত্ব করতেন. He was under the king. You have heard the term Baravhuia. Baravhuia means the 12 landlords of Bengal. For example, Pratapaditta, Kedar Rai, and there were others. They were under the Mughal emperor. এরা মুঘল সম্রাটদের অধীনে ছিলেন. Similarly, the Thanes were under the king. For example, Macbeth, the Thane of Glamis, was under Duncan, the king of Scotland. Of late, he defeated a rebel army. Of late means recently. Recently, Macbeth had defeated a rebel army. Rebel means one who revolts against something. যে কিছুর বিরুদ্ধে বিদ্রোহ করে, he is called a rebel. That means some soldiers had revolted against Duncan, and Duncan had sent Macbeth, the great general, to suppress the rebels. বিদ্রোহীদের দমন করবার জন্য he had sent the rebels. A rebel army assisted by the troops of Norway in great numbers. The rebel army was assisted by the troops of Norway. Assist means help. The king of Norway helped the rebels, and they were in great numbers. That means there were many soldiers from Norway who came and helped the rebels. But Macbeth was such a great general that he defeated the combined troop of the rebel army and the Norwegian soldiers. নরওয়ের সৈন্যবাহিনী সৈনিক এবং বিদ্রোহী দুজনকেই পরাজিত করলেন ম্যাকবেথ, because Macbeth was a great general. This part of the video comes to an end. I will upload another video. Thank you.